27th. Good evening, everyone. I will ask Councilman Wanunu to lead us in the pledge to the flag. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence in memory of Senator John McCain. Thank you. I'll ask the Deputy Town Clerk to call the roll.
Councilwoman Charles, Councilman Wanunu, Councilman Weissmandel.
Here.
Councilman Rossman. Supervisor Speck.
Here. Item D, public hearings. We have one cancellation of the public hearing of the exemption for the first-time homebuyers.
Right, this is a resolution. The board had previously scheduled a public hearing on a first-time home buyers. This resolution will cancel that public hearing and withdraw from consideration said local law.
Very good. We discussed this previously in the workshop. Is there a motion by Councilman Wanunu? Second by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. We'll go on to item D, acceptance of the minutes, number 1, of the regular meeting of July 9th, 2018. Call for a motion to accept those minutes. Motion by Councilman Wanunu, second by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. And now number 2, regular meeting of July 19th, 2018. Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
Supervisor, are we going to be doing open?
My mistake, I skipped right past it. It wasn't intentional. Thank you for reminding me. We'll go now back to C, public participation. I'll open up the public participation. Mr. Kaufman.
Just going to use a little visual aid. This is what the town of Ramapo is like right now. You have 3 open spaces on a power strip. You can stuff in 10 more. What happens is you end up with a fire or it shuts down. The town is overloaded. In my area, last night, Blauvelt Road was backed up from Maple all the way to Cameo Ridge Road, and I observed a car go into the opposing lane, drive that whole length to Maple Avenue. Could have caused a real accident. Saddle River Road, on the way here today, it was backed up, well, I'm sorry, Maple Avenue was backed up all the way from Route 306 past Saddle River Road. Saddle River Road was also backed up. I couldn't even go down that way. That's why you needed to do the moratorium. That's why you need to do the moratorium, just to get things in order. One of the other things is you're bringing in tons of new people. There are no shops near where they live. Near me, I can walk up to Cameo Ridge Road and there's a little shop there I can go to. Or I can actually walk to Rockland Kosher. But the people up by Kearsing Parkway, that whole area, you already have a lot of shops, a lot of people living there. You're putting in more. It's just going to exacerbate traffic on Route 306 to go either to Wesley Kosher or to the shops near 59. The other thing is, last week I saw at that meeting that you had with the about Pascack Ridge, they compared us to that Ramapo is already between Albany and Syracuse in size. That this does not fit. This does not work. And over the weekend, there are 2 building sites on Blauvelt Road. One Blauvelt Estates, the other one is 52 Blauvelt. Both of them were left open. The gates were left open. You have children in the area. It's like the Wild West for the builders. It's dangerous. That's what was embarrassing on Thursday night at the zoning board hearing. Channel 4 was there talking about the school on Route 306. Things here have to be brought under control, and then you can move forward. You can't just keep things going as they are. My street, everything is happening there is because of a drafting error, because somebody drew a line through a dog leg on a piece of property, so an unscrupulous realtor took advantage of that,
Mr.
and now
Kaufman.
I'm showing up.
Your time's up.
You finish up.
Okay. I have to keep coming back because I'll be seeing Mr. Berman probably tomorrow morning, because things are still not under control. You have to bring things under control, otherwise it's just going to get worse and worse.
Mr.
Thank you,
Kaufman,
Mr.
may I have your address, please?
6 Hopal Lane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. Anybody else, Mr. Romanowski?
It's Robert Romanowski, 183 Maple Avenue, Muncie. The first question is that, has there been any progress when I asked you about the cul-de-sac on Brewer Road, where the lines have been drawn in the middle of the cul-de-sac?
Yes, there is. The highway superintendent is going, I believe, tomorrow to address that.
Okay, thank that. The second question is, when you come out of Muncie on Route 59, there was always lights there from Route 306 up past the where the bridge is. A whole bunch of them are out. There's just a few on where the bridge is. Do you know what the situation is with that?
I'm sorry, where was that?
On Route 59, from Route 306 west towards where the bridge goes over the old railroad tracks there. There were lights there. Only a few of them work up near the western part by the bridge. A lot of them are out.
I don't have the answer, but we will look into that, definitely.
Also, speaking of lights, over a year ago, one of the town lights was struck on Maple Avenue and Muncie Boulevard. That was knocked down. It has not been replaced. What's the going on with that? And also, one of the town lights in front of 180 Maple Avenue fell to the ground and broke. That has never been repaired. What is the situation on that? And speaking of lights, when there's a meeting out here in the parking lot, there's trees growing in front of the lights out here in the parking lot. And if you take a look at it, it's blocking most of the light. I don't think the birds and the trees need the light at night. The people do. So I wonder if the trees could be cut back so that the light could go in the parking lot where it's supposed to.
Yes, in the parking lot. Well, thank you
Out
for
here.
bringing that to our attention.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romanowski. Is there anybody else in the public who would wish to speak? Seeing none, then we'll go back to the agenda.
You need a motion to
Vote on the
close.
minutes?
No, you did the minutes, you need a motion to close the public
Motion to
hearing.
close.
Public
Motion to
participation.
close the public participation period. Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. Now we'll go, we did the minutes, I believe. We accepted
Yes.
both minutes.
Yes.
Then we'll go on to the attorney's office agenda.
E1A is to approve agreement with the Village of Spring Valley retroactive to July 1st for utilizing the town's summer program for up to 81 children from the Village of Spring Valley.
We discussed this previously in the workshop. Any motion by anybody? Motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That carries 4-0.
The next E1B is approve agreement for snow and ice between the New York State and the town with respect to snow and ice removal on state roads for the period July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019, at a fee of $137,322.71.
Very good. Any discussion?
Not this one. This one always is during the summer. There may have been another agreement. I just don't know what that agreement is,
If there's no further discussion,
because this agreement comes from the state.
call for a motion to approve. Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
2A is accepting a proposal from LaBaum for liability with respect to underground storage tanks from Ace American Insurance with a $1 million, $3 million limit at a fee of $873.
Very good. Any
This is
discussion?
something we have, I'm assuming we have this in place now, right?
I believe we had it before, but this is the new one for this year.
We know if it's gone up, down, no.
No, I'm not sure whether we had it before. I misspoke. All I know is this is the first time I've ever written a resolution for underground storage tanks.
Any questions? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve. We discussed this in the workshop. Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
E2B is accept the proposal from Thomson Reuters to provide Westlaw legal research service to the town attorney's office.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Rossman to approve, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That carries 4-0.
Okay, then 3A is Mr. Shedler. This is settlement of a certiorari brought by New York Funeral Channels, and it's a minor reduction, and it's from $90,000 to $80,000 for the assessment.
Motion to approve by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That carries 4-0.
Okay, E3B is amendment of a prior resolution with the PAR Pharmaceuticals. We didn't have one of the earlier years, so this is why this resolution is being presented to
Is
you.
there a motion? Motion to approve by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Is anyone opposed? That carries 4-0.
E3C is settlement of a certiorari action brought by Bay Slabovich, granting them an exemption of 69%.
Is there a motion to approve by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu? All in favor? Anybody opposed? That carries 4-0.
E3D is a settlement of an action brought by Rudolph Steiner Fellowship for 100% exemption for 2017-18 for 2 properties.
And again, like all these, we discussed this in the workshop. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anybody opposed? 4-0.
Next one, E3E, is settlement of an action brought by Virgin Mary and St. Pacomius Coptic Orthodox Church, and the property is entitled to 100% exemption recommended by my office.
Anybody have any questions? If not, motion to approve by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Carries 4-0. And then finally, Congregation Torah HaMishpat.
E3F is my office is recommending a 92% exemption for this property and Sunrise Drive.
Motion by Councilman Rossman to approve, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Is anybody opposed? That carries 4-0.
Okay, number 4A is a settlement of an action brought by Liberty Mutual as subrogate of E. Ward Green. A snowplow struck his vehicle, and we're recommending the settlement in $1,750.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? 4-0.
E4B is settlement of an action Russell v. Town of Arapahoe in the amount of $5,000.
And again, this is one that our council is
Our
recommending.
special counsel for insurance, Sokoloff and Stern, is recommending it.
Is there a motion? This was actually a wrongful death, I believe.
Yes, it was.
So it's a very nominal sum.
Yes.
Motion to approve by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
Okay, 5 is retroactive tax exemption for base tranny of Muncie with the amendment, correction of the resolution. It's not the Village of Montebello, it's base tranny of Muncie, Inc. It's allowing them to seek a retroactive tax exemption from the
Sir.
state of New York.
Motion to approve the amended resolution by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried 4-0.
Okay, number 6 is dedication of various roads and easements for the Qualitas Homes, Roman numeral 2 and Roman numeral 3 subdivisions in the vicinity of Old Nine Turnpike.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve, anyone? We're up to the dedication of roads.
These were 2 subdivisions that were approved many years ago by the planning board. They required dedication of various roads, such like Hammond Street, various shade tree easements, sidewalk easements, and easements for water main, sewer, et cetera. So that's why we're asking you to approve, except for dedication.
Any motion? Motion to approve by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
Number 7 is acceptance of a road winding dedication from Chaim and Leah Wurzberger at 94 West Maple Avenue.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Carries 4-0.
Okay, and number 8 is approval of the standard workday for elected officials and their reporting activities.
Is there a motion by anybody?
I'm just saying people.
It's just the recently elected people.
Right.
So superintendent of highways, the supervisor, and 2 town board members.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Winunu, seconded.
They're all here.
Anybody want to second it?
This was previous, it's not covering him yet because it's after 3 months, and you haven't been on the board for 3 months.
Is there a second? If not, I'll second it. And all in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. And then we have an executive session item that we'll discuss toward the end, at the end of the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, then we'll go to personnel. Ms. Condon.
Hi, item F1 is a resolution to appoint Jeffrey Cipicello as provisional shop supervisor in Central Garage effective September 1st, 2018.
Is there a motion to appoint Mr. Cipicello? Motion by Councilman Winunu. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Weissman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Hopefully not. No. Very good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Your replacement October 1st.
I don't know. It's a mistake. We got to ask Alan. Yeah. Could, we have Mr. Rossman caught what I believe is a mistake under item 8, under the workday. The sheet list, somebody is no longer a, is that correct?
No, it had to be.
Oh, that
You
is
still
correct. Oh,
have to
needs
do
be.
it.
Thank you.
You still have to do it
Oh,
even though he's
because
no
he did
longer
still
on the
serve.
board.
Okay, just for
But he
the,
did serve for a few days during that.
we're talking about Mr. Ullman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that
They
explains it.
also thought
Thank you,
that.
though. Yeah. We're looking to find a mistake, but
Right, we have enough mistakes, we don't need to find more.
thank you.
Are you going to have to amend it, however?
Beth Finkelstein is handling that. No, he wasn't newly elected, this is newly elected. We're going to have to amend it probably.
I spoke to
for
Beth
council-
after I file my reports for 90 days. At that
Yeah,
point.
3 months. It has to be, I think, 3
It's
months.
not,
worth.
it's 3 months of reporting within 150 days.
Gotcha.
So whenever I report it, that's when it has to be
Got it.
updated.
Very good. Then we'll go on to item G, Finance. Mr. Lynch.
Thank you. Item G1 is to revise our budget to reflect the collection of the final $3,000 of a $10,000 grant that we received for, related to the Challenger Center.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Winunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
G2 is to revise our budget related to the collection of $10,000 grant related to the, from the USTA related to the tennis
Very
facility.
good. Motion, Councilman Winunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anybody opposed? That carries 4-0.
G3 is to revise our budget for the $100 DARE donation from the American Russian Aid Association.
Councilman Winunu, motion, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Carries 4-0.
And G4 is the amendment of our budget related to an insurance recovery of $10,433 related to a road accident involving one of our streetlights, which we achieved this insurance recovery.
Motion by Councilman Winunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anybody opposed? 4-0. And thank you, Mr. Lynch.
Still move from the legal department to accept these settlements, right?
Yeah, you had previously adopted a resolution settling it, but we don't do that until we get the money, and once we get the check, then finance asked me to amend it, to amend the budget.
And now we'll go to item H, Agenda H, purchasing. Ms. Montal.
So the first H1 on the agenda is the amendment of resolution number 2018-112, which is the acceptance of the bid for the sandblasting and painting the pools. We're asking you to add an additional $3.10.
I think it's $3.
Per linear foot for any floor or wall keyway expansion joints that need to be replaced after the sandblasting. So we're asking you to accept that as an additional amendment to that existing resolution.
Okay, we'll call for a motion to amend adopt the amended resolution. Motion by Councilman Winunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That carries 4-0.
Item H2 is the amendment of the resolution for the furnishing and cleaning of the work uniforms, and this simply adds the additional items that had not been there before.
Any discussion? If not, motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded by,
Do we know how much this is going to cost? What's the additional
Oh, there's no additional, it's just that the items weren't really there.
Well, we had accepted a bid for like, $1 per shirt, $2 for pants. We didn't have it at the original resolution, but they were the successful bidder, so.
There's a motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Weisman. And you all in favor? Anybody opposed? That carries 4-0.
Item H3 is the authorization for the payment for the police firing range. We retained MT2 to remediate the range as it was discussed at the previous Police Commission meeting. Based upon the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, they required a specific company and method of disposing of this material. And we're asking you to pay $113,284.73 to Almar. The bulk of that will be, you have approved already to MT2. Now you're paying Almar, and the addition is basically $13,000, and that was because of the additional material.
The only question I had is that I remember when we were first discussing this, we were talking about potentially starting to charge the neighboring towns or whoever it is that's using the facilities that we were going to start. Did anything happen with that?
So basically, all police departments do an intermunicipal agreement. So we don't pay, for example, to send people to the police academy and other people, so the police departments work together and figure out who's going to do what. So unless it's a completely out-of-the-box type of usage, generally speaking, I think the chief's response was we were not going to move forward with that.
You went to Jersey people?
That was a different story. That's not a county. So the question was, what were they doing for us? And I believe they were going to let us use their indoor range.
Oh.
That was the last I heard about it. We could certainly bring it up at the next police commission meeting.
Okay.
Back to the pools again.
Back to the pools.
Is there a motion?
I'm sorry.
Oh, we
sorry,
didn't
no.
get to do that yet. We didn't get to the one I think you're talking about.
No, I'm going backwards again.
Okay.
Let's do the motion. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, I'm sorry. Why don't we resolve this?
Police range.
Yeah, is there a motion to approve this?
Move.
Motion by Councilman Weismandel, second by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. Now you wanted to go back to another
Back to
item.
the pools. I just have to ask, it's just, I have an itch here. What happens when something like this needs to be repaired with our vast resources? We have engineers, we have building department, we have professionals within the town. Who gets involved with evaluating how something is being bid, how something's being approved, how something's being done within the town's network? Protect from having a 25% change order on a $100,000 job.
So generally speaking, the department head is the initiator of the need for a particular item to be bid out if it exceeds a certain threshold. And then that department head would consult with support staff. I believe Michelle has certain staff, didn't feel that they were able to do this particular type of job based upon her analysis. We do speak to the union periodically, and whatever we can do in-house, we do. This particular item, we could not do, and based upon the skill set that we have in-house. And I don't think there's any way to avoid the change orders because they were circumstances that came up as things were uncovered in this particular case.
And I'm not hung up on this particular case, but it just highlights to me when it's an extensive job, it's a $100,000 job, is there a resource or a protocol where she'd reach out to someone in engineering or someone in the building department?
I know for a fact, and Ted, correct me if I'm wrong, occasionally there'll be projects which is beyond her expertise, will be in the expertise of Ted's engineering, and she will consult with Ted's department, and they will give guidance with respect to going out to bid.
We don't have the expertise to do modeling that they do. In the town best interest to seek a consultant in that case.
I think in answer to your question, the department head will think about what they need. will then meet, purchasing will then meet with them, with the attorney's office periodically. We'll figure out what resources we need, whether we have the capability in-house. Sometimes we go out for a consultant to come in to give us guidance as to what we need to do in reference to it. We did that, Alan, if I remember, when we did the splash pad. We had to have a consultant come in and tell us what we needed to do. Just recently, you did the same thing with the generators. The generators. You had to get an engineering consultant to come in and draft the spec for what we're going to either ultimately go out to bid for or use the state contract. So right now, the procedure is department initiates it, they consult with purchasing and the attorney's office, and then it goes out to bid, and the board will make a determination after they get a recommendation from the department head and myself, what they should do, and then you could interview and review the scope of each job as well as it goes along.
I'm talking from a job management perspective. So they come and they sandblast in the pool, they blow away all the makeup, let's call it, and all the cracks show up. Who evaluated it and said that what the person in the field said is actually accurate, that it needs to be done?
That's the department head. The
Right.
department is in charge of his or her different project. Like, for example, Ted has projects where he's monitoring the project. Nothing goes before the board with respect to a change order unless it's approved by the department.
And in some instances, it's done by DPW from an engineering standpoint, and they sign off. I mean, the last big project we did was the ballpark, for example, and every change order had to be certified each and every time that it was done. And it was certified, I believe, by by Paul Gdansky from the engineering department. And if he felt that something wasn't appropriate, then he would say, you can't do that. In these minor, relatively minor cases, it would be in Michelle's domain to do that. At this stage, it's at her discretion whether or not she feels we have to go out. So,
And as Mona described, when it was the ballpark, or even before that, when we redid this building, the board set a monetary limit. I think it was like $5,000 for change orders in this building. Anything more than $5,000, they could not authorize it. They had to go to the town board. So
right.
we don't have a general rule. The board, if it wants, can set a general rule with any project going forward, that any project over 50 or 100,000, all change orders of amount have to be approved before the department head authorizes it.
Right, and again, if it's something that's where it has to be looked at right then and a decision made, we could poll the board. We'll adopt, every year we, update our purchasing policy. We could make that part of either our purchasing policy or our finance policies. Probably it would go in the purchasing policy. We'll have a section for change orders. And right now, let's say I'm authorized to approve X amount of dollars based upon the state law. We could add something in there like that. We could say the supervisor is authorized to review change orders in an amount not to exceed whatever that dollar value is.
I don't want to add layers of complicated, but it seems to me $25,000 on top of a $100,000 contract should have had another
Set of
layer.
eyes. We could put that in the policy, that if it's going to be over 10% of a 10% change order or 5% change order, that different processes and protocols have to be put into place. If that would, and we'll put
Good
that in our
idea.
purchasing
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah.
And we will notify the vendor in our contracts, we'll adjust all of our contracts, Alan, to reflect that any change order will have to be, any change order is over 10% will have to be approved by the board
That's a very good
prior to
idea.
any.
Or to your point,
work.
maybe if something is that we can in theory do in-house, that the engineering department is situated, is signing off that we should be
Well,
going out.
many times there's two different types. There's change orders, which is normally an unanticipated something that you find, like in the pool case.
Yeah.
Others are scope changes where they're doing the project and said, you know, it'd be great to add this to it. That also always goes to the board. So it's on a case-by-case
But
basis.
I think one of the things it sounds like that Yehud is bringing up is that if we have the talent in-house, that you have people who are making, I guess, judgment calls to go out-house go get outside vendors to do stuff. And we may
We've
have to-
always, the last several years, I know that if certain, I know when Michael Klein was sitting in this seat, he'd always ask to Ted, for example, can this be done in-house by your own engineer, like surveys or certain things, and Ted would discuss it, and then if we could do it, fine. If not, it would be done, out,
Get
you know,
outside.
outside. We've had many times, I think, Paul Gdansky has actually drawn up specs, et cetera, for various public projects.
For example, the repair of the dam at Camp Stuffy.
I was referencing specifically more to oversight than to actual who would do the work.
I'll just mention that the real change order here is $9,700.
Yeah, there wasn't a change order. That was covered by the original amendment of the
Michelle said
resolution.
23,000.
The 23,000 had to do with the fact that they didn't include in the original resolution the $3 per linear foot, which was part of the bid. The original resolution should have been the $103,500.
Got it.
All right, why don't we move forward? We'll go to item I, assessor. There's a request to authorize the assessor to attend the New York State Assessors Association seminar at the end of this month. We heard about that during the workshop. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Councilman Rossman, second by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. Item J, we're going to withdraw for tonight. K1, discussion. We decided in the workshop, we're going to ask the purchasing director to negotiate with Chestnut Ridge Transportation to exact some sort of fee or other consideration for the use of the parking lot. 2, approval of change orders, sandblasting and painting of pools.
That's just to approve $4,500 for work that was authorized by the new amended resolution, and then 2 change orders in the amount of $19,400. For it's unanticipated work, as Michelle explained, with respect to problems with the existing pools that we were doing.
Is there a motion?
Isn't it 19,400? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 9 and 9 is 18, yeah, 19,400. So my math is wrong. I graduated from his school district. Before you were there, that's correctly right. When it was correctly called, when it's called Arapahoe Central School District Number 2.
Is there a motion?
Is that Mr. Russell?
What was that?
Mr. Russell?
Motion by
When it was
Councilman
Base Rocco, it was
Rossman,
Muncie School.
seconded by
exactly.
Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. And then the next item is the reimbursement of expenses for the Challenger Center Conference, which was attended by our employee and is now asking to be reimbursed.
So, Mr. Supervisor, can I just make a comment in reference to this?
Please.
I know Michelle apologized for not getting it, but everybody who goes to any conference that's overnight, the town board's rules and regulations are, it must be approved in advance, and there are multiple reasons for that, not the least of which is insurance coverage and otherwise. So I think that the board should formally let whoever, all department heads know that anybody who goes to a conference overnight that's not pre-approved and expects reimbursement is not going to get it, period.
That's right. I mean, I think we should approve this one.
Yes.
It's been done in the past, but going forward, that's an excellent idea. Motion, is that a
Sending
motion?
out
Before
this
we
memo.
do that, how do we know, what's a normal policy, let's say with flights? How do we know that he got the right flight?
Well, I would normally do it, that's
Yeah.
why we
No,
don't.
so,
Yeah.
but the question is.
Typically, we'll get a request, as I've seen with the assessor, we get a request with an amount of money, which tells us,
And
I
then
don't see
have
many
to book the
flights.
flight.
You book the
I-
flight, you make the
You booked
arrangements.
his flight?
No,
No.
under
the
normal
number that you
circumstances.
see on the agenda will include the flight, hotel.
I'll give you an example, he paid room tax, we shouldn't be
We shouldn't be
reimbursing,
paying,
we
we're a
shouldn't even be
municipality.
reimbursing him for the tax.
He
That's,
gives us taxes on his, on the airfare as well.
correct, there are certain, that's why we do it in-house.
Yeah,
It's a lot of money, actually.
yeah.
Airfare is almost $50 in taxes. Is that something we can get back, or?
Probably
No,
not.
because he paid.
Because
it
he
as
booked
an
it individually.
And
Yeah.
the room sales tax is almost $10 every day.
Yep.
How are his room charges? Like, would you normally send him to a Hilton, or?
Well, usually, it depends on if the conference was in
conference
that
is,
hotel, but I would have
Oh,
to check
he
that.
wouldn't necessarily go to a hotel next door or
I
something?
would
No, usually he gives, the person gives conferences at the Ramada Inn, it's $150 a night, transportation, food, et cetera, in a proposal, then Mona reviews it and and then it
And I
goes to the
book it,
town board.
and I actually book it. We actually prepay it on the credit card so that we are getting,
Taxes and-
yeah. I have to send them tax certificates, and I'm not even sure that this was I mean, I would really like to know whose requirement it is that he's attending this conference. It's another bill of hours for the Challenger
Challenger Center, that's correct.
And I'm not, I don't know that,
So do we put this on hold?
no, I
Well,
don't
no, I
think
think we
it's
should
fair.
reimburse
The
him.
guy, I think.
He went with the understanding that it would be for
Who signed off
part of
on
his
it?
job, yeah.
Michelle signed off on it.
Yeah, I don't want to penalize.
Again, she
the employee.
apologized
Yeah.
for doing it. I'm just suggesting, and it's not only
Future,
Michelle,
we-
that anybody, and maybe we all
Right.
need a little reminder
We
that
could
that's
do a
the
memo reminding everyone of the policy to
Right.
coordinate it in
So who's
advance.
doing the memo?
The supervisor's office.
Do we have to make a resolution? Or you just-
No,
We
that's
No,
been
no,
a-
no, it's just our
The
policy.
longstanding
We'll-
policy, if it's in the budget and it's not overnight, and the budget specifically has money for the conferences, the town board has to do it. Like we go to the Association of Towns any year, we don't have to get specific authority because it's in the amount. But if someone's going overnight, the board has always said, no, we want to see what the charges are, and we have to authorize it.
I'm not even sure that resolution is done the right way, and I would ask the finance director, she's taking money out of a different department.
Because, yeah,
So she'd really amend the budget, not just,
correct, she mentioned that. That is correct.
so she only
For 100
budgeted $1,500 in the correct budget. So instead of taking it out of a different department, she should probably move the money within the Challenger Center budget, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, you can ultimately do a separate resolution for that.
Yeah,
Just let this
just-
resolution go, and then remind her that, John, you'll have to talk to her to do a new
Or we
resolution.
can correct this to pick up.
Whichever way, I didn't write
pick up
it,
a,
Maureen was
Challenger Center.
gracious. Maureen took it on of herself to do it for
You
me,
could
and she
do
did it.
3411, do it under miscellaneous.
So why don't we amend the resolution?
So it has to say,
You know something, if you would have taken off the taxes, she probably would have made the budget.
She would have, well, she definitely
Yeah,
would
that
have.
would have been the
so
difference.
Maureen,
Right there, you see it.
the resolution say, and be it further resolved, at the end of the resolution, say, and be it further resolved that John Lynch, Director of Finance, is hereby authorized to amend the 2018 budget as follows. Transfer, whatever it is.
Right.
John, tell her how much.
So what is it,
100 and,
$7.68.
From account, what's the account?
Well,
It's
I
here.
don't know, I think you just use the source of funds as miscellaneous in the same budget, in the same department,
Yeah.
It's up to you.
7178.
Yeah.
Whichever
do
way
that,
you want to
that's
do
fine.
it.
So she doesn't have to amend, just
Don't forget it.
7178, and I think
107,668,
it's
I'm putting-
3411, but I'll give it to you in the morning.
very good. Is there a motion to approve the amended resolution? Motion by Councilman Rossman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0. Police matters, that
So
matter.
we're gonna send a letter out, is it from the board?
We'll do a memo
The
from,
supervisor's
yeah,
office.
reminding department heads of the policy. And then in the future, there'll be no approvals that are not, there'll be no reimbursement for things that were not approved in advance. Very good. Item L,
Should we make them sign that they received it?
Well, he'll have to submit a voucher.
He has to submit.
He'll have to submit a voucher. We're not going to pay it without
Yes.
him signing a voucher that,
yeah.
No,
that,
but the receipt is notice.
Oh, the memo.
Oh, all
You mean the
department
memo?
heads are gonna get it.
Yeah.
What?
All the department heads will, it'll be sent as a, usually,
Email or
An email.
written memo, either one. Oh, very good. L, police matters, as we discussed at the workshop, that's been resolved, so we're withdrawing it. M, DPW.
number one is off, and number two, you have the one resolution where we're committing to appropriate $150,000 and additional $12,231, the town's local share for the right-of-way acquisition.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
What are we talking about?
This is the right-of-way
M2A.
for the sidewalk.
That's the only resolution. We're not doing the second resolution or
At this
anything
time.
on Waverly.
Moved.
Moved by Councilman Weissman, seconded by Councilman Wanunu. All in favor, anyone opposed, carries 4-0.
Before we go into executive session, we
Right.
need a resolution to set a special meeting for the September 5th at 9 a.m. in the supervisor's office with respect to the Waverly Place Area Sewer Improvement Project.
Is there a motion for that for that special meeting? Is that next Wednesday?
At 9 o'clock in the supervisor's
Motion
office.
to schedule, well, I think we need 3
Three
minimum.
votes. Yep.
Yeah,
9 a.m. September
9 a.m.
Right.
September 5th. Is there a motion to schedule that special meeting? Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Weissman. All in favor?
Make sure that we get all the information though before.
Well,
Ted
will send that
is
out.
here, he'll
Yeah.
make sure you get the report, and Ted and I will draft a resolution to have it by the
Right,
weekend.
so we'll have it
to
before
send it
next
to you.
week.
Yeah, we'll send it out hopefully on Friday.
Very good. So that's approved. Special meeting is held September 5th at 9 a.m. on that one issue. Thank you, Ted. Okay, very good. Then I think at this time, we have to go into executive session to
For
get legal
litigation.
advice to discuss pending or potential litigation. I will call for, do we need a motion to go into executive
Yes.
session now? We do, right? I'll call for a motion for executive session by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, this time we will go into executive session. I'll ask that the and then the last item on our agenda is adjournment of the meeting. I'll take a motion to adjourn by Councilman Rossman, seconded
I'll second.
by Councilman Weissmandel. All in favor? Anyone opposed? We stand adjourned. And now we will commence the Ramapo Local Development Corporation meeting. I'll call to order the August 27th meeting of the Ramapo Local Development Corporation. I'll call upon Councilman Rossman to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting held June 7th, 2018.
Supervisor, I have to take the roll call.
I'm sorry, you're right. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mr. Weissmandel?
Here.
Mr. Rossman?
Here.
Mr. Wanunu? Ms. Charles? Mr. Specht?
Here, thank you. Okay, we'll go to acceptance of the minutes for the meeting of June 7th, 2018. Motion by Councilman Wanunu, seconded by Councilman Rossman. Mr. Rossman, all in favor?
I'm going to
Anyone
abstain.
opposed? I'm sorry, you're going to abstain?
He was
Oh,
not a
you weren't
member
here.
of the LDC.
So
at
that's
that time.
carries 3-0 with one abstention. Then we'll go to the meeting of July 19th, 2018. Motion by Mr. Rossman, second by Mr. Wanunu. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries 4-0.
Okay, item 3A. The Local Development Corp. had previously installed a WRCR sign at Palisades Credit Union Park at a cost of $12,880. They will have requested the removal of the sign for the use of the new location. Cost will be approximately $5,000 to remove it. Apparently, RCR had previously agreed with the LDC that they would pay $2,000 towards the cost, which they did, and plus on-free advertising spots. Michelle, Director of Parks, has advised that the free advertising the LDC received was approximately $95,000. Therefore, this resolution will permit RCR to remove their sign at their sole cost and expense.
I'm sorry? I'm not understanding.
With this resolution will allow WRCR to remove their sign at their sole cost and expense, naming the LDC as an insured.
Sign that just says RCR.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's no reason to keep it there.
Originally, it was a
Can
12,
Can I comment?
Please.
So on the top of the building, in the outfield of the stadium, WRCR used to be a tenant of that building. So in the 2011, it was approved that they could put a large WRCR sign up there, and the RLDC paid $12,800, the cost of that sign and the installation of that sign.
So they want
But
to
it
keep the
was-
sign and relocate it.
But it was a barter agreement where the radio station provided free advertising for the stadium over the course of several years with a value of $95,000, as well as they paid an actual amount of $2,000.
So they gave us advertising in well in excess of.
So there was an equitable settlement for the cost of the sign.
So
So
we agree that the value of the advertising was 95,000?
Michelle has stated that.
Yeah, it definitely,
It's-
I mean, it was definitely more than the
Are
12,000.
they repairing the damage to the wall that they're?
So I got full documentation for the value of that. The full documentation has been provided to us. So we are convinced that there's an equitable settlement for the cost that was expended by the LDC. The sign is going to, and the WRCR has agreed at their own cost to remove the sign from the top of the building. They're going to use a professional.
Or is it on the roof?
It doesn't affect the side of the building at all. It's mounted on the top of the building. So I don't anticipate any damage or anything.
When's the
mounted
sign
to
coming
the-
down?
I wouldn't permit them to do that until we had approval to move ahead.
And what about insurance naming the
Yeah,
town
this
as
is a-
additional insured?
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's mounted to the roof?
They're going to use, I'm sorry,
It's mounted to the roof?
on the top of the roof, yeah. It's basically,
Doesn't that usually cause holes and stuff? And even when you take out an antenna on these things, you usually you need a roofer usually to fix that.
Seal it.
It's something. Are we gonna make them do that?
we can certainly make that a condition of removing the sign, certainly.
I definitely think that they.
It's
It
a,
should
you know,
be a
it's on,
condition
it's
that I
mounted
think-
on concrete.
It should be put back to its original state, whatever that
That's
is.
Why don't we
reasonable.
amend the
That's a
resolution
reasonable
to reflect
request.
that?
Yeah.
It already has in it that their contractor will indemnify us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then we'll amend the resolution that they'll restore the site to its original state. Is there a motion to approve?
And who normally inspects that happens? Is that Michelle?
It'll have to be
I think
Michelle.
Michelle. All right, motion by anyone? Mr. Rossman, seconded by Mr. Wanunu, all in favor. Anyone opposed, that carries 4-0. And then we'll go to finance. John, if you can go through A with us.
Sure. This item, the hiring of capital markets associates, advisors, sorry, CMA. At the last town board meeting, the board approved hiring CMA for the town. And the reason is that the SEC required us to be reviewed by an independent consultant. One of the recommendations by the independent consultant, Alvarez and Marsal, was that we should retain a qualified financial advisor. And after reviewing several firms, the consensus was to hire CMA. We've done so for the town, and now we're proposing to do the same for the LDC.
Any questions for Mr. Lynch about this?
Just take out the source of funds. We don't need a source of funds.
Right, for the LDC.
Right.
All right, then I'll call for a motion to approve. Motion
So
by
they're
Mr.
just
Wanunu.
reviewing, sorry, they're just reviewing the current bonding?
They're
CMA,
doing-
in fact, they agreed to cover the requirements of the LDC without any additional retainer. They really serve three functions. One is to help us ensure that all of our reporting updates are done on a timely basis because the LDC has public bonds outstanding. Secondly, they're standing there to advise us on any financial strategic planning that we may like to consider in the future related to the refinancing of the LDC. And if, in the unlikely event that the LDC is called upon to issue bonds again, they would be retained as the advisor in the bond issue.
Great.
So obviously, if there's no bond raising, there's no
Then
fees.
nothing.
Right.
If there's no other questions or discussion, I'll call for a motion. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. Wanunu. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Rossman. All in favor? Is anybody opposed? Carries 4-0. And then we'll go on to the next item, acceptance of proposal for insurance recovery. I can explain this one, but I see we don't have the backup.
Fortunately,
We don't have the actual proposed retainer.
Oh.
It was
This
just
is-
an email, it wasn't even a proposal.
Basically, as you know, we incurred legal fees as a result of the SEC action that was brought against both the town and the LDC. We consulted with an attorney, Jonathan Lerner, who is an expert on insurance law. He gave us an opinion that we have a very strong, here's been a strong cause of action against Philadelphia Indemnity Company, our insurance company, to get recovery of at least some of our legal fees that the LDC incurred in defending itself and defending the former director, the former employees, the director of the LDC. And it's an amount of up to almost $1 million, I would think we spent from the, on it. He would be willing to represent us. Unfortunately, we don't have the, in front of us, the proposal.
Supervisor, your, if you, my phone just died.
Yeah.
But there is an email, if you just look up Jonathan Lerner.
I don't have my phone on me, it's on my desk. If we want to take a 1-minute break, I can go get it, and I can print out his email.
I think both, basically.
I can look for it, I don't know what she
I
did
think
with it.
basically the question is
How we wanna do
how
it.
we want to do
He
it.
offered
There are
different
three-
options.
There are three options, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, one option was a flat hourly fee, one option was a strict contingency fee, and one was a hybrid with a lower contingency and a lower hourly, but both.
I don't think the contingency was an option, was it?
I don't think, maybe not, maybe it was
I don't
different
think
hourly. It looks like Alan is getting it, or do you think you
it was
have it? If not, I know I can
500.
print it out, I could get it.
I think it was 500 an hour, but if we did it on the hybrid, it was
I
250.
think you're right, actually, go by memory.
And the potential recovery
$1 million, almost $1
could be
million.
almost $1 million.
Yeah, and he felt we had
A
a
very
strong
good chance.
case.
He is a recovery attorney, it's what he specializes in, not just insurance, but actually fighting with.
And he gets contingency or he gets a
So
salary?
I would recommend we do the hybrid with him.
Yeah,
It's
it
a lower hourly.
lowers our risk of legal fees, but at the same time,
Puts his skin in the game.
yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what he said to us. He was actually enthusiastic about the recovery.
and that's a good sign that he would take it on a partial contingency, because he
Well,
must feel
depends on
strong
how you
that.
split the contingency.
Well,
Is
our,
it do like an 80-10?
our,
80-90?
Right.
80-20?
it was a very unique policy that the LDC had, which covered these particular things. They've already paid out 1.2 for this, same circumstance. They gave us a denial letter claiming that we didn't give notice. That's not accurate.
He
because
feels
they
we
had
did,
notice
he feels they had
because
notice, yeah,
They had the case. They
Yeah.
had the caption of the case.
yeah.
So he figures, I think, I don't think they're going to fight this very hard.
There should be a settlement,
I think
hopefully.
there's gonna be a settlement.
And whatever we can recover, it's money we didn't expect to get back, and we're out. It'd be nice to get some, at least part of it back.
I'd like to mention that John actually found and reviewed the issue for us because we were not renewed. Our policy was not gonna be renewed. So John asked the question to Lown, why aren't we going to be renewed? And they said claims. And unbeknownst to us, we had no idea that there were any claims that were made. We didn't have anything to do with it. Actually, it was made by a third party, and the insurance company had the obligation to notify us under the verbiage written in the policy. And that if the distribution of funds, it was to be the insured that was to be part and parcel of making the decision how that distribution was going to take place. And they never came or asked the LDC anything. We've gone through the LDC's email history, we've gone through every paper that the LDC had, and we found no indication that they notified us. And they basically admitted that in one of the letters that they sent us.
Yeah, which is why he feels that it's worth pursuing.
On the other hand, he did not feel that it was worth pursuing for the town.
Because the coverage was different.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, as you know, the town paid the LDC's expenses, so ultimately, there's money owed from the LDC to the town anyway, so the money would come back to the town.
At this point, any recovery in the LDC is a benefit to the town.
And
Definitely.
we're expecting, did he give us a projected?
No, but he felt we had a strong cause of action, and the amount was almost $1 million.
It won't be more than, it won't be more than a
No,
million.
no, no, it'll be less because of.
What is it gonna cost to go after them?
200, that's what this, I
We try to
think it's
get that
$250 an hour and a
How much an hour?
$250 and a contingency. I mean, and
Maybe a
a,
contingency.
yeah,
Yes,
contingency
partial
percentage. I don't remember what that
We're
was.
trying to get, yeah.
My
what
phone
Alan's
was
looking
died,
for.
otherwise I would share that information. Or $500 flat rate. He
No
even said he would prefer the hybrid because then he has skin in the game too to make sure that we're successful.
Yeah.
And we've gotten very positive feedback about his success rate in helping get money back from insurance companies.
What is that, sir?
He has a very good success rate at getting back funding from insurance companies. You could set a not to exceed amount if you
Yeah.
wanted to, but I don't know that
Never works.
never works.
Do we want to take a short recess while I look for it? I'm not sure what success Alan is having.
Sure.
It's getting late, and if I can find it quicker. All right. Okay, we're back on, and we have the letter from Mr. Lerner, which is dated August 14th. It's addressed to Deputy Town Attorney Janice Gittleman, and I'll summarize. His proposal is he makes several offers. He could either be retained on a straight hourly basis at $500 an hour, or a hybrid contingency fee as follows: $250 an hour plus 5% of any sums recovered, whether by suit, settlement, or otherwise, between the date of our retention and the commencement of document discovery. $250 an hour plus 12.5% should it resolve between the commencement of discovery and the filing of a note of issue in state court or the conclusion of fact discovery in federal court, and $250 an hour plus 15% should it resolve any time after. So basically, just to break that down, it's either $500 an hour or the other way, the fee gets graduated the more work he does. If it gets done by the time that he just does discovery, it's only 5%, which is not much. If it goes between discovery and filing a note of issue is when you basically say discovery is done, we're ready for trial, 12.5%, and after that, which is basically when it's on for trial, is 15%, which is still low.
Doesn't that work against us?
If you're gonna do the 500 an hour, you should put like we've always done in the past, not to exceed, I'm making number up, 10,000, so you don't get hit with a $48,000 bill and you don't know about it. So if you do
Yeah.
just the $500 an hour, then you should have a cap. So if it's exceeding more, John will have to come back to the board to get more authorization.
I think I don't know if it necessarily works against us. I think his reasoning is that, A, the more work he does, the more he should get. But I think also is an incentive perhaps to consider seriously an early settlement offer. You know, an early offer that's less than the full amount might be worth more because of the fee being lower than a later
He's
offer.
making less.
Why can't we just go back to him and say, we'll give him
A
a
flat-
flat rate of 250 plus 10% regardless, because I think
10%'s too high, though.
10%'s too high?
Well,
More than likely, it sounds like this thing is gonna go to
it
settle.
depends. If we think it's gonna settle early, 5%, then we should keep this because 5%'s low.
And so what's your?
I'd like to see a hybrid based on the amount of money. If we make 500, make 600, like
That
sliding
makes more
scale.
sense.
What do you mean?
A
Based on the
sliding
amount of
scale.
recovery?
Yes.
Incentivize them to be more hungry. Well, by the fact it's a percentage, he's always gonna get more,
Yeah.
a larger, that automatically.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
but
not-
I incentivize them to make even more money. This, if anything, is incentivizing them to stick, not settle and to stick around.
if we have, not to mention, it could eat up the whole settlement, because how many hours is he putting in at 250?
Well, you
Well,
have to,
if
you
it's
have
going to note of issue and after, he's putting in a lot of hours.
Right.
I have to assume
Yeah.
that if we win in court, and a decent win where the judge agrees that they couldn't deny it, they'll probably have to pay our legal fees.
I'm not so sure, we'd have to see, I don't know the answer. If
I'm
it's not
involved
in the
in
agreement, we
insurance
probably
claim.
don't. Yeah, I don't either, but
So you know what, but
generally,
to
no,
your,
it's
to
not
the
gonna
point,
be
why
fees.
don't we cap the hourly, and then he goes straight contingency after a certain hour?
We don't know what that hour.
Right,
So let me,
right.
let's say, you know what, $250 an hour, capped at, let's say, $25,000, that gives him plenty of hours,
Right.
okay? And then after that, it's just straight contingency.
Well, you have to talk to him whether he'll accept
We'd have to
250 an
renegotiate.
hour up into that,
Yeah.
whatever that amount is.
15% of, let's say, 900,000, right?
It's,
So that's,
$100 and something thousand.
$145,000. So he's looking at $145,000.
Loss.
but that's the best
On top
case, that's
of-
if they're not
Right.
gonna offer the full amount, that's if he goes to trial and wins. Let's say they offer 6 or 7 or 5, whatever, to settle, which we would, maybe worth
At
considering.
5%.
It depends where we are. in
Depends what
this,
stage
yeah.
of the
Well, I would
settlement.
say a total compensation of not to exceed $100,000 between the two.
Yeah, but you still have to, his proposal is going to be $500 an hour or the 250 plus.
But we can come back to him and say.
Well, no, you have to
"We'll
discuss
pay
what you want, yeah. But then we
250."
won't vote tonight then.
No, you can vote tonight to authorize the supervisor to negotiate up to a certain amount of
Yeah,
dollars.
we
It's up
could
to
do
you.
that.
That's
I like that way also,
just so that we know what our outlay is going to be.
not to exceed, which is always a good number. You know what, for $100,000? But again, he's not incentivized to go
Right.
take it from $500,000 to $750,000.
Well, he might be, because they're gonna, in the beginning, their offers are gonna be lower. Generally, things like this with insurance companies, they don't get it up to the serious offers till later down the line, when it gets closer to trial, which might be what he's thinking.
He's getting $250 an hour up to that point of the
Yeah.
offer, with a dollar value not to exceed. So it would be in his, we're not gonna settle it if it's not.
No, if it's not
You're
enough.
gonna make the decision. The board is gonna make the decision.
There's so many different ways to get this one.
The other option is to give him a flat hourly fee, but then we run the risk that we're paying a lot out of pocket with no guarantee of
And he
recovery.
could run that bill up.
He could run that bill.
Well, he's not going to, he's a legitimate guy. He's not going to
No, I know.
pad the bill.
No, he's
No, I don't mean that, but if
It could be expensive.
No, it could be-
Litigation is expensive.
he said he wants skin in the game.
Yeah.
He said it to us.
So you know what, maybe lower the hourly, and give him,
More contingency, we'd have to talk to him.
$100 an hour.
Yeah, I don't
He's
think
not
any
gonna take it.
attorney.
He's not doing 100, he doesn't work
He
around.
might take, I don't know, maybe 175 an hour.
I don't know,
and
you would
we
know
can
better
play
than
with
me,
it.
I don't
But
bill.
then he's gonna want 20%, who knows? It's,
I mean, you can ask Janice and supervisor and Mona to talk to him again, and you do it at the next meeting. I don't think there's a statute of limitations issue.
no, we're timely. I mean, I think if we wait another few weeks,
Well, you can have another meeting on the 12th.
very
Just be
true.
late, but you can do it on the 12th. There's no public hearings.
I don't think we need to go in circles on this thing. I think what you just, negotiate whatever,
Then bring it back on the 12th.
Less risk, more reward for us, obviously.
I'm just saying, the max, let's say they,
Well, right now,
Well, he's going to tell you what he thinks before he gets to each stage.
did he
He'll
mention
know
how
it's,
many hours he thinks it's going?
no, he doesn't
So
say
that's
that.
a good question to ask him.
Yeah,
How
what
much do you
stage,
think
right.
typically, how many hours have you billed on pieces similar to this?
Yeah, we can ask him that.
And
I'll
then,
tell you, should I tell you the answer now? Oh, you guys. A question, has he spoken to the lawyer from the insurance company yet?
no.
No.
He hasn't even made contact?
We
Well, no,
have-
because
we
it's not
have
retained
had-
yet. He's not, yeah, we've reached out.
we have an extensive denial letter from them.
Is it denial that they're ready to go to war with us, or is it denial that they?
It was a pretty
lengthy.
extensive denial,
It
but
was
I don't think
lengthy.
they're gonna go to war with us.
No.
Because they're this is what he does. The problem is they've paid out $1.2 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their only reason they're saying that we're not entitled to money is because it exceeded the value of the policy. And
Is that a valid claim?
no,
Because they should have notified, and they should have worked with us. According to Mr. Lerner, they should have said to us, how do you want this paid out? And they never gave us
It
that
was
option.
clear, it was
Yeah.
clearly
Very
written,
clear.
very clear.
Yeah.
They had to do that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that he clearly said was, and you should also know that the other person who's also out money is attempting to get it back. Now, the insurance company probably would rather settle this than go to war. They're gonna end up paying more out. The attorneys they have that they're paying are also quite expensive.
Yeah.
My suggestion is based on what Councilwoman Udo is, table it, and we'll have another supervisor call another
Why don't we do that?
LDC to the 12th.
I'm going to hand out his proposal to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I guess there's no rush, nothing's happening between now and then.
No.
2 weeks. All right, sounds good, then we'll talk
We
with
can
him
just
some
make a
more.
note, we have to do an LDC meeting, we'll call it.
Yeah, we'll schedule one for the next
Yeah.
board meeting, regular
Yeah.
board meeting. The statute of limitations is not
I don't think it's an
run,
issue.
no, it's
Alan's
fine.
prophecy's coming true, that the next meeting that was only supposed to be a
It's
one
expanding.
item.
No, no, not the
No, not
4th.
next week, the
No,
2
we're
weeks.
not doing it the 4th, very good. No, I wouldn't let you do it on the 4th.
No,
I wouldn't let you do it on the 4th.
all
We will
right.
definitely have other agenda items for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alex
see,
said
no, I'm not gonna
Can we
write
make a
them.
resolution that says no to
I won't
nothing?
write them, let her write, someone else will have to write.
That's the town board meeting, now we're doing the LDC meeting,
Right,
so the
That's
next
the
item.
town board, right?
Right, we're not town board, we have our town board hats off for now. Last item is adjournment. Do I hear a motion by Mr. Rossman to adjourn, second by Mr. Wanunu? All in favor? Anyone opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.